Welcome to our lesson 3, and we have our course content and objective, which is drawing precision in Autocad. We are going to use a command snap, object snap, auto, polar tracking at angles, and then we are going to draw with snap and grid. So what you have on my screen is a grid and a snap. This is a snap. You can see we have equal spacing. It provides you with some squares with equal spacing, and then the bigger one are the grid. So we can deactivate this one by typing grid, enter. Then we can just say off. The grid is off. So you can see what happens. We can also type grid, then enter. Then you say the grid is on. So that's what happens. So for snap, we can just type snap, enter. Then you can say snap, let snap be off. So snap, you can say let snap be off. So anytime you are drawing, please ensure that snap is on and the grid is also on. Then although, if we were to talk about although is just a command that helps you to draw vertical, for example, vertical line and a horizontal line. So we can pick a line. We can pick a line, then we can go to this command section and see although is on. Then you have polar. So I'll show you. We'll practice with although and polar. So we can draw a line. So you can see with although we can draw a horizontal and a vertical line. So enter. But with polar we can draw lines at an angle, for example a diagonal, or an angle inclined at a certain, a line inclined at a certain angle. So you can activate that, and also you activate objects or snap. So op snap is important because it helps you to know the intersections. For example, intersections between, you can get the end, the mid, and the end point, the start, the mid, and the end point using the or snap. Polar. So when you're drawing, kindly ensure either when you're using polar, ensure polar is off. So again, you can draw this one. Then you can start. You can see we have an angle at which we can draw our drawing. So we are not limited to 90 degrees. So we can draw as much as our drawings as possible. So all that is with the help of polar tracking. Then with OSNAP helps you to with the following. You can type OSNAP, then you click OSNAP. You can see we have endpoint, midpoint, center, and all that. So drawing with grid and snap, you can see with snap we are able now to draw from this point to this other point, or that it also helps us even to view whether our lines are well joined. So the snap and grid help us to know that they're well joined. Then our snap help us to know the intersections where the lines are intersecting. So, and although it's for helping us draw the vertical, horizontal lines, and polar is for drawing lines inclined at an angle. So the next thing I want us to look at is advanced editing commands. One is trimming, extending, stretching objects, creating fillets and chamfers, offsetting objects, and creating array of objects. So first, to trim, it's just like erasing, but it is also good to know that for trimming, this is the trim objects at a cutting edge defined by other objects. And we have examples. So if we click trim, what happens? And we select that point, you can see already is eliminated. So with trimming, so as long as that point with an end and a start, you click, so that point is eliminated. So we can undo. Then extending, we can just go to extend. So I'm only trying to get, yes, the stretch. So with stretch, it asks us to select what we want to stretch, and remember this should apply to the whole object. So after selecting, you can just enter, then specify, there is a pop-up, specify the base point. So we can specify that one as the base point, and you can see you can move it at, you can stretch it at whatever point you want. So you can take it to that point, and that is about stretching. So again we undo. Then we can look at creating fillets and chamfers. So for fillets, this is a modify command. So to fillet is to connect two non-parallel lines or arcs by extending them or trimming them to join with a rounded edge. So a rounded edge, so like from the what we have a line, and you can see there is this arc. So the procedure is simple. So click on that command, then select the first point, and immediately you select the first point, you click on dimension, then you click on radius, then you can specify a radius of 0.5, then you just say enter. Then again you can also specify again the radius 0.5, then you enter, then you ask to go to the second one. So whatever you can see that we have an arc of radius 0.5. So we are creating rounded edges. So that is about filleting. Chamfering, chamfer. So to chamfer is to connect two non-parallel lines by extending them or trimming them to join with a bevel line, and you can see so here you're joining them with a straight line inclined at an angle. So click a chamfer, then select the first line, then specify the distance. So again, we can choose 0.5, then you press enter, then specify second chamfer distance, specified second chamfer distance. So you can say again 0.5, then you enter. So if you click that other point, you can see whatever you have is a chamfered, So this line is a line of 0.5. So you have removed 0.5 and also 0.5 on this edge. So offset. So to offset is you can move this line to the right or to the left by specifying a certain distance. So simply you can just type offset, then offset, but I've seen it's here. So offset creates concentric circles, parallel lines, and parallel curves. So if we click offset, it's asked us for a distance. So we can specify a distance of 1, then enter. So to select the object, we can select that. And you can see we have offset it to the left. So if you want to offset it to the right, again click offset, then specify the distance. Then if you select this object, it's also good to point on the direction. So enter. So with offset, the direction is very key. So that is it. So the other thing is to create an array. So an array is it's like what you have. You have so many boxes. So it's an array of rows and columns of copies of the selected objects. So for example, if we select this object, I'm sure you'll get some problems. So if we select the whole of this object, then we create an array. So if we select those objects and then we click array, so we can say we need a rectangular array. So we can see you have how many copies. You have created a number of copies of the same object, but you can see they are spaced. Some 2 to the right, but what happens is that already the row are specified here. There are 4 columns are 4, and the rows are 3. So what if we make it two rows and see what happens? 2. So basically, you can work on the rows and the columns to specify the number of objects that you want. So I hope we'll proceed with no problems. So the next objective is working with text. So working with text is another command in Autocad, and we can do when working with we can work with annotations, adding text, modifying formatting and adding notes with lenders to your drawing. So for example, we have this drawing, and if you are very keen, you can see that this looks like a trapezium. So if you want to add a text on this, there are ways of adding text to it. So you can use multi-line, or you can use single line. And single line is the what we can use. We use what we call the d text command. So you can type d text command, then you enter. So specify start point. So you can specify that's your start point. Then you click enter, and again enter, and you can see what happens. We have like a dialog where we just write. You can type out any text. You can write 1, 2, 3. Then you click outside. Then you press escape. Again, you can also perform the same operation by clicking on single text. Then specify start point. Then again you enter. Then you can write 1, 2, 3. Click outside. Then you escape. The other thing that you can do is a multi-line. So specify, so here you specify the first, the last corner. So with multi-line, you can create so many, like a paragraph. Then you need to press enter. Again, you can see the difference between a single line and a multi-line. In multi-line, you can create so many things in one. So this aspect is important when you're doing formatting or printing. When you're doing printing operation, for example, if at all you want to say that this one is a trapezium, so you can just click, you do a printing, then you type a trapezium. So when you're working with multi-text, it's also good to know how to work with the key, the enter key and the escape. So that brings us to the end of our lesson 3, which is drawing precision in Autocad and advanced editing commands, which is trimming. So trimming is simply to erase, stretching, offsetting, which where you create round corners, and filleting, where you create edges or ends that are beveled. Then array, whatever we have is like you're creating multiple copies. So I've been a trainer, Mr. Ngike. Thank you very much. Practice on the same, and from henceforth I will start assigning you some work so that you practice on what you have learned. Thank you.